Well, hello. This is Brian Raymond, and we are day 2 of NAB 2026, and I'm
You know
here.
because your feet hurt, right?
They're getting there. They're my dogs are starting to bark. I'll, so I'm here with Kris Dunlop, and please tell me about
Yeah.
Force Tech.
Yeah. So with Force Tech, we're based in just on the east side of Indianapolis in Greenfield, Indiana. And I'm a senior account manager, been there almost 4 years, was a client before that. And so, yeah, we do a little bit of everything. I think we'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, my wife and son, we live on the northwest side of Indy.
Okay.
And so have a lot of great clients we get to work with and a lot of great manufacturers. And I've just loved partnering with you guys.
Awesome. So tell me about some of your core customer
Yeah.
segments.
So we do a lot of house of worship. We do a lot of corporate, a lot of broadcast projects, whether that's schools, arenas. So that's either, college, professional. Starting to obviously do a lot more broadcast in the corporate world. They're all wanting a little piece of that too. So that's been fun to kind of integrate that into to corporate situations. Schools are a big one
So
that.
you just mentioned we worked on a project together for
We did.
Anderson
Yeah,
University.
Anderson University, yeah, in Anderson, Indiana. And they had received a grant and needed to do some house lighting overhaul. And obviously all incandescent fixtures were in there. It had a great grid. We've utilized a lot of your PoE, and we can talk about that a little bit later, but this was a traditional studio setup already. They converted all of the 3-pin to
The
Edison.
stage pin to Edison, right.
Stage pin to Edison.
Were there any other challenges with that?
No, but what was also great is everything went right on, and all the lifts and everything they were pulling down from the grid. They were really able to utilize all of the accessories they had, and then we were able to come in and with a fraction really of the lights, we did some Fresnels. I think it was the LBX 40 and 25. I think we put on the green screen.
Those were to light the floor, and you used Fresnels.
So I think there were a total probably of over 40 lights.
Wow.
Now when we went to visit the other day to get some pictures and things, he had the graveyard in the corner of all the lights, and the studio felt a whole lot cooler. But what's great too, specifically with those panels, is with the output and the spread of the light, like we're not having to run them in the mode where the fan even comes on.
Yeah.
And so it's just so much more quiet.
That's awesome.
This past weekend, actually a couple days ago from when we're filming this, they had their first live studio audience, and where students are writing sitcoms and acting that out.
That's awesome.
And so that, the TV prof, we work with him on a lot of different things, and freelance with him as well. And so it's just been cool to see what the students are getting to use. It's just kind of exciting time for the university to get something like that.
Okay. And we were talking about corporate and EDU. Would you say these are the verticals or channels with the biggest growth potential, or?
Yeah, I would say so. And I think the other one too, specifically with those verticals, just the introduction of, maybe it's even not a full studio setup now, but just how are we recording people on cameras and doing interviews? We're working with clients that have basically, they're not using the prompter for reading news, but interacting with people that are at their trade shows somewhere else. So a lot of that interactivity. LED walls obviously are becoming more and more prevalent in a lot of different corporations. So we're seeing a lot of that as well.
Yeah, I would say we're probably the only booth in NAB with a drop ceiling.
That is true. You do.
So,
and that really played a great. We had a situation where, when we designed it, we didn't know what the ceiling was going to be. And so it ended up being ceiling tiles. And so we just ordered some of the ceiling tile clips, and we were able to utilize those and not have to have a pipe grid or an extra pipe put up, and we were able to still get the project done on time.
Wow.
We've been, with the introduction of powering everything, through our Netgear switches, what we're using, has just been phenomenal, because we do a lot of hospitals where we're going in, where these children's centers, where they're broadcasting to all the kids' rooms. And I think we've talked about that in years past, but we've done 4 or 5 of those now. And so we're just able to run a few network lines, not having to involve the electricians for that part of the project. And it's really been just allowed us to work with our other partners to create something that's affordable. And I mean, the lights are just great and bright, and they're covering everything we need, even in unique situations where it's an 8-foot ceiling with a ceiling grid.
Right.
Like, we don't have to lose a foot before there's a pipe and a clamp and all of that.
Well,
So
that's exactly why
Yeah.
we made those low profile fixtures, and
and they really do hang off a ceiling grid.
Yes, that's
So-
I mean, yeah, that's really been a game changer for us. And looking ahead in the next 5 to 10 years,
Yeah.
do you see anything happening? You know, whether it's television or broadcasting, or you know, how people are creating content. What do you see changing?
I mean, we continue to see the amount of people per production go down. People that have no experience in production. And so as integrators, like, thinking through, okay, how do we integrate all of these different pieces where normally it's a TD and a video director and someone doing the lighting, all of those different things, where now, especially now with your QSys integration, we rely heavily on that, but we're able to control our PTZ cameras and your guys' stuff, and we can control the monitors, and especially with your NDI monitors and that offering, really finding a great place to use those, because in small little situations, we're not worrying about, all right, how much power do we need in a rack?
Right.
You know, we're able to accomplish a whole lot more.
Have you seen any shift towards REMI or remote production from
Yeah,
any of
we
your
do.
customers?
Yeah, there's several that we work on. You know, and it just depends on the client. But yeah, there's, you know, obviously the transport is just becoming more common, and a lot easier to attain.
Are there any new technologies that you've seen at the show, or things that you're looking for on the horizon?
Let's see. What have we seen so far?
'Cause
It's
I'll tell you-
always a blur.
Well, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
all of our products come from customer feedback.
Yeah.
Hey, I need it like this, or, you
Yeah.
know, so that's why I'm asking. I want
Yeah.
it, you know, you might be, you know, spurring the next
Yeah.
product design. So that's,
Yeah. The let's see.
oh, I could tell you,
Yeah,
like,
go for it.
you know, a couple of years ago, we showed wireless tally.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, what do you have? So,
Yeah, we ran right up to you and like, hey,
so I mean, now we build the tally
Yeah.
into our prompter monitors,
Yeah.
and we make a box to talk between the prompter monitor and your switcher. So it's those kind of things.
Right.
These conversations are what
Yep,
push
it's really
us
important.
and really poke us to go. You know, we're looking
Yep.
for those, you know, kind of things. So that's why I'm
Yeah.
curious. Maybe you didn't see it, but maybe you're looking for it.
Right. I think, you know, maybe, well, obviously with your offering now with QSys specifically, just all of the automation that we're able to set up on that front end, the presets we're able to set with the cameras, the lighting, you know, that's the biggest thing, especially for these corporate situations. Like I said, lowering the amount of people being involved. You go in, hit one button, pick this camera,
Right.
you know, and whether you have encoders, decoders, streaming from that. I think the more as AI comes into this space, it's the automatic switching of cameras.
Right.
Canon's got a beta stuff they're testing out right now with multiple cameras and framing, and so you could kind of start to see where that's going. And where before, you know, we could have 3 people talking, and it knows what mic is getting that signal, and it
Right.
switches that camera. But as it continues to progress, it's less on the programming side for our engineers, and
Right.
it's just, hey, the computer's just going to do it.
Have you been working on any podcasting spaces or multi-purpose rooms, especially like with drop ceilings? Has that become part of the workflow?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like podcasts are exploding. No sign of stopping. I know Netflix has started, you know, talking about putting those on too. So I don't think it's going anywhere. but it's nice to see the overall cost to get into that, and the quality you're getting at that level is, phenomenal. And especially with remote connections. We've got clients that we've done a studio with them, and they're regularly contributing to CNN, and so we've got to have that set up, and they're doing it from somewhere, just in one of their offices, where we've set up a studio. But yeah, we continue to see corporations continually add more and more to that broadcast segment. And again, like I said, it's more attainable price wise now.
So one thing, you mentioned before we started about seeing the PoE studio monitors.
Yeah.
What else would you like to see PoE? Because obviously our whole studio is lit PoE. Our cameras are PoE. Our NDI prompter monitors PoE. So what else? Now studio monitors. What else do you see coming down the pike? What? I was just curious.
Yeah, it would be nice to, really now, most stuff's getting it, but most stuff isn't, specifically with like your guys' products. People aren't getting the output like you guys are getting and have been doing for quite a while now. So specifically with the lighting, that's, been huge. So I think you've got some color models out now, I believe, right?
We have the LCX10 PoE is shipping. We have an LCX8 PoE, which will be available soon, and the next will be a Fresnel.
Okay.
So it's just a continuation.
Yeah.
And it's, again, does everyone need RGB?
No.
But some people, especially podcasters, or people who are creating a mood. I mean, I use RGB fixtures in my Zoom calls.
Yep.
Why? Because I can't.
That's right. He has got a rave going on.
But sometimes I'll paint my wall green, and I'll use my Ultimatte to put my company logo. Or sometimes I have a couple RGB fixtures. I'll put a gradient on the wall, right? And it's just whatever it is. I'm creating a mood. I'm creating a look. And whether it's for a corporate customer or EDU, the school colors, like having that ability to change on the fly, is very convenient. So
maybe that NDI monitor in like a road case. Let's do that. That's PoE. I know.
Meaning you want the one with like we have that field monitor, but with okay.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. That we'll talk to the product manager. I don't see that one. Actually, I can do that in the SKB Rotomold case, where I just put it in the skinny rack case. You know what I'm talking about? So I think that one's easy, because the NDI monitor is already available with the rack mount.
Well, and the solution you have with a prompter and this base that the rover, it's great. I just loved it. I've loved it since you guys had it out. I think it was last year was the first year.
And
it was out.
We're ready to start delivering these now. We're having a contest internally, see who can sell the first one. So I'm hoping you put the order in. So, when you use the NDI monitor, I was just curious, do you use that more for encoding or decoding and your workflow?
Yeah. So the stuff that I have engineered, we're doing primarily right now on the decoding side. So I think that in my mind, the more monitor offerings that there are, I can throw this in a green room at a church, and we can quickly just send a multi-view down to it or something else, quick and easy.
Got it.
Or just offices, spaces where people just need another feed. It's great for situations specifically like that.
I have friends in LA who now use NDI in Video Village.
Wow.
It's like, I would have never thought of it, but people, they see a solution and they use it.
Yeah.
And we brought this up before. You were talking about VR and video wall.
Yeah.
What do what are your customers looking for? How are they using VR primarily?
Yeah, we feel like as a company just this year and the end of last year, we're starting to get requests for that more. We're seeing more bids come through on that. So obviously it's integrating with LED wall, with the tracking on the cameras, usually in a PTZ sense.
Okay. That's that. We've actually, both of the PTZ cameras we sell now, send pan, tilt, focus, and zoom data via 3D.
That's great.
so they can talk to all the
Yep.
software that's out there. So that's something, and most of this footage is this is 2 of the cameras in this set are PTZ.
Awesome.
So it's interesting. So, all right. Now, so feedback.
Okay.
So you mentioned about the road case for the NDI monitor.
Yeah.
What else are you looking for? Again, this is where you help our
I know,
product
right?
management team.
Let's see what we got coming up here. Trying to think of projects and solutions I'm trying to solve. I don't know, could you do like PoE when it comes to control and power for just LED tape in general?
Yeah, I've been working that as a side project more for trade shows.
Yeah.
Because I want the RJ45 cable going to the light being an actual LED ribbon.
Oh, okay.
So
that's nice.
I've thought about that, but in a different, like for a different reason. But it would function as that.
Yeah.
It would be a PoE driven LED. So I'm going to now do some more research into it. So
because you always need that it's not a need. It's more of a want, but
it's a want. But they're saying that there's a product out there. It only works one way, and it would benefit from being PoE.
Yeah,
and especially for me because I want to draw attention to how our lights work.
Right.
And no, I have to say, what do you see when you look up? I say, how many wires?
Yeah.
So if I had what you just described, it would be illuminated.
Yep.
So that is something we've been working on. So
making them in white has been a great addition too, for ceilings and all of that.
Yeah, we've gotten requests for white chassis. We've gotten requests for more modifiers, whether barn doors or crates could control the light. We added on the ability to put a softbox in front of our Fresnels, and that led to the ellipsoidal. So it's like, what else?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how everything comes to be. Okay, so it looks like we have covered all the topics.
Wow, look at us.
And and we did it, and we didn't go over time.
No,
I don't have to pay you double.
Sweet.
So
I didn't even know I was getting paid, so that's good.
You're getting double.
I can take a light on my way.
Yes, you're getting double of what we originally agreed.
Sweet, I love it. But yeah, no, you guys have been great to partner with, and obviously, like coming to you, like here's what we're trying to do, what this solution is. And we're working on a couple projects now, and where inner city Atlanta, where the same company we've been working with hospitals, looking at schools and how do we give kids that are in lower resource areas the opportunity to create content, and whether it's for school projects or for streaming. And so we're working with a company there. We're going to be converting shipping containers.
Oh, wow.
So they're going to outfit it all so it looks really nice inside. And then we'll have your guys' lighting.
So this is a studio
inside
in a box.
That. Studio in a box, literally.
That is amazing.
And trying to keep the cost down where, in some areas, how well can we protect a shipping container? We don't know. But if it gets broken into and something gets stolen, like we're not out hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Correct.
But we also have a great product.
Containers are a little tougher to get in.
I think
than
we'll be
a pole
okay.
barn.
Yeah,
because we've had people come into our pole barn in our old building. They came in with a can opener. So I think a shipping container is a little thicker. So that's awesome. You didn't tell me about that.
Yeah. So that one we're finishing up right now as far as designing it. That's happening this summer. So we're excited for that.
All right.
So,
well,
and we had people while we were talking visiting another high school studio. So
okay. That is exciting. I look
thanks,
forward
Brian.
to it.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Yep.
All right. Have a great show.
Thanks.